Hi guys, welcome back. Scatlink here, and we're off for another one of our unboxing videos, even like what we did with the NES up there. But it's not gonna be like, it's not actually an unboxing video because there's no box to open, and it's technically, I've actually technically had this a year before I got that, and that's because it's been sitting in one of those drawers where I keep all the other consoles that I do not have displayed in my little entertainment centre down there. And that empty spot is where it's going to be because it's something that I just want to have out and displayed instead of being sitting in a drawer where it actually has probably a little bit more value than my Super Nintendo or my 64, even though the Super Nintendo is a little bit on the yellow side, so it shows age, and it's like my Pikachu 64, that's a thing as well. But this is another kind of show video because I finally actually got it to work on my TV, and as you saw, it was a widescreen HD TV, yada yada yada. It's not an old TV, so that's kind of a thing, and I got it to work on the TV finally, because it's like with an old TV, you have like 99 channels, and you just plug something into the aerial, you do like an automatic search, it searches every single connection on a channel, and then it goes to the next channel, searches every single connection on that, until you can like search for everything, including game consoles. Well, I had to do it with this thing, but because every channel on a new TV has like 99 channels built into it when you search, it's like you have 999 channels pretty much, 99 times 10, it's like, what the heck. I will show the footage, well, I can't show footage directly because of how I got this to work. I can't put it for a video player and do it that way through composite because I don't have a video player actually. The only video player I had was actually built into my small little 4x3 CRT that I had, and because that broke, I don't have a video player anymore. Oh well. And that wouldn't have worked anyway because it was built into it. But anyway, the other video players that we have in other rooms, couldn't use those because my mum and dad use them a lot, so I had to make do, and I will get to that. So, keep in mind that everything apart from Sega, keyword Sega, equipment that you'll see in this video is part of the package, alright? And what I say about the package is that I paid a single price for it and I got it all. Alright? And without a transition, let's just bring up the item in question. The Atari 2600 Junior, not the Slim, the Junior, even though it is technically called the Slim. It's like having the NES top loader or the Super Nintendo top loader, or Mega Drive Mark II, I don't know. But yeah, so here it is, and yeah, it's not the wood panel plane, instead you got the nice strip reflector. If I just tilt it, you get to see all the nice markings on it and whatnot. So yeah, that's pretty cool, and yeah, so I found this at Magpies before I found the NES, and it was awesome. So, let me get into like just showing you all the stuff. So first of all, very small, very light as well actually. It doesn't have any of the knobs, but more like all the switches are on the top here. So it's all just very basic, like similar design. The cassette or cartridge plug is not covered, but unlike it was in the original, I think. But it's not indented either, it's just there. But it does have problems to hold it in, so it doesn't get knocked out of it during play. That's a thing. Got the LED here that tells you when it's power on or power off, as you'll see here when I bring it up into the thing. Got a power button here, power switch here. You switch it upwards, the LED will power on. You got the color and black and white switch, basically TV type. If you have a black and white TV at the time, then obviously you have to keep it on the down position. But if you have a color TV, like HD TVs as well, that can do it. And if you have a color TV and you want to play it black and white, you can do that as well. Click it down. So yeah, so that I always leave that switched up. Obviously, cassette or cartridge slot. We already talked about that. And then we have a select button, which allows you to play one player or two player mode, as well as change the level that you're on. And of course, you have a reset button here, which you just push down a little, and well, that acts as like a start button as well. It's kind of weird. It's like if you press select and then you press the fire button and that doesn't start the game, you have to hit the reset button and that starts the game up. So it's like they haven't perfected everything yet. Reset, because like it hasn't made all the standards yet. Like reset is actually reset, and select is actually select. And well, I guess select still does that, but as there's no menus and it's just the one screen of gameplay most of the time, and that's it. So that's a thing. Yeah. So let's go on to the front piece here. We have the aerial slot, which doesn't actually look like an aerial slot, but that's because it's like the Sega Mega Drive as well as like the NES, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64. You plug in the what is similar to any of the three composite plugs. You plug that in there, and then the other end is like an aerial plug, and you plug that into your aerial TV or a switch box, and you're good to go. You have a controller port here and a controller port here, standard 9-pin, similar to, once again, the Sega Mega Drive, the ColecoVision, the Intellivision, all that stuff. And you can basically plug them in there, and you can, like, obviously use a controller. And I'll get to that in a minute, because this thing is surprisingly compatible with some futuristic stuff, considering that this thing is pretty old. So that's pretty interesting. Of course, we've got a switch here, and a switch here. This is switch, well, that's difficulty A, that's difficulty B, AB, and this one again, AB. Basically, that changes the difficulty for that particular player. On one difficulty, and then I was playing on the other difficulty, and there was a different change in how many obstacles and how many platforms that we could use at the same time, and it changed. If we were playing on the same difficulty, we pretty much had the same thing. The middle slot is the power supply. You just slot that in there, you plug it into the wall, you're good to go. And there's actually no switch here, but I do know that some of the models that have this particular front plate, some of them actually say like Atari 2600 in the middle, but this one just says Atari, and then on the colour strip it says 2600. And these kind of models, these are the late models, do not have a channel 2 and 3. Can I get that in the light? Yeah, that says channel 2, 3, and there's most models don't have a switch. Some models do. The earlier models definitely have a switch, but all that is really is to have it on channel 3 or channel 2, and then get it to like channel 36 hertz or anything. But I already know about all that, so I don't know. But that doesn't really matter because it still works. So that is awesome. That is the console itself, and of course, when you get the console, you get, well, I believe you do when you get it new, because I'm not really too sure. It just got tangled with everything else. That was great. Two, if you want to call them, two normal joysticks. You have the usual joystick and the fire button. That's all you have, and it's, like I said, it's the standard 9-pin. So you just plug that in. There you go. Just wiggle and play. I will say though, it does feel a bit stiff at times. It doesn't have a lot of maneuverability, but it does have a full 360 maneuverability, which is weird because games don't really have that much maneuverability. But yeah, fire button, that feels very nice to press. So yeah, that's cool. And like I said, two of them, so if I get Raiders of the Lost Ark, I'm good to go. Getting them all out of the bag down there, because how else am I supposed to store them at the moment? Two swivel pads as well I have, even though I haven't got any games like tennis or Pong, I mean that's technically the same thing, that use them because they clearly have a symbol for it, and they're just called, paddle on it. Has a very nice analog swivel to it, very smooth. I don't think I've held a controller with that good of a swivel, and a nice fire button that clicks when you press it. So yeah, that's very nice. It's very nice to hold as well. Better than what you have to hold with the original ones, because you have to like have your thumb over the edge. With this one, you have it on the side, like you were holding a phone or walkie-talkie. So it feels very nice in your hands. So I've got two normal pads, two swivel pads, and now let's get to the wires, and then I'll get on to the other stuff. We also have the power wire. The power pack is part of the plug, so make sure you have enough room if you're using a multi-plug. And by the way, just like with a Super Nintendo, not an NES or 64, but a Super Nintendo, do not leave it plugged in. It will get hot, so you want to unplug it when you're done with it. I'll be putting a little label on that to let me know. And of course, something that looks similar to a microphone or headphone or even speaker port, that plugs into the middle of the back of my particular console, and then yeah, that's your power supply. And finally, give me that wire because I have to rip that apart. Sadly, I didn't get the switch box, so all I got was this. That's the wire that plugs to the console. This is the aerial slot. Problem is, with consoles that use aerial slots, being the standard Actually, no. Does the NES come with a standalone? I forget. But basically, with like the Super Nintendo and the Nintendo 64 that come with a standalone, one of these wires and an adapter to plug it into the thing and then out into the TV. Other than the Super Nintendo or the 64, something like the Mega Drive, they need to use a Switch-Box in order to actually convert the signal properly to get a signal on the TV. Because if you just plug this straight into your aerial slot, every channel tries to get the signal and it doesn't work. Yeah, you have to use the Switch-Box in order to go to channel 3 or channel 36 and do some shenanigans like I had to do with this TV in order to get it to work, and I've completely forgotten how to do that, and this TV does it differently, but I still got it to work. But yeah, can't plug that in. I need a switch box. This didn't come with a switch box. No pitchfork of death that AVGN calls it. No other switch box. I mean, I could buy one, or I could use a VCR, like I said, a videotape player. Just, you know, plug this in with a coaxial adapter, screw it in, then use composite and plug it in, and I could actually record it that way as well, and use that just as a jumper, but that'll be a waste. And I didn't have that because we have two of them and they're already being used, one downstairs, one in my mother's room, my mum and dad's room. So couldn't use that, so I've had to go for the, well, funnily enough, the Sega Mega Drive splitter. This doesn't come with a pack, like I said. All Sega Mega Drive stuff doesn't come with a pack, but you can tell it's Super Mega Drive because something that looks like S-Video, but it isn't. That plugs into the back of the Sega Mega Drive. You plug that in, and then it leads to the box. Then this plugs to the TV, and then your aerial antenna or another gamer's console will plug into there. Then with a switch under here, you can like switch it back and forth, and you're going from Sega Mega Drive to your other input. As I haven't got my Sega Mega Drive inputted in, plus my Sega, for some reason every Mega Drive I get doesn't want to play sound, so yay. That makes no sense. I've just pretty much I've just wrapped that up in rubber bands to keep it from getting knotted from anything else. Just plug the aerial side of my aerial wire into the antenna slot of this box, put that into my TV, and then the signal finally comes up from my TV. So, Sega Mega Drive actually saves me, so that's very cool. And, as I will show off in my video of showing the footage and whatnot, notice the connection of a Sega Mega Drive port. As you would have known from most other reviewers, it is 9 port. It's a 9-pin slot. If you plug this in to an Atari 2600, it works. This is like 3 generations above! What? Well, it's like basically a GameCube controller working with a Wii U, or having the GameCube composite wire work with a 64 and a Super Nintendo, and the NES already has it built in, so whatever. But yeah, that's kind of cool as well, because it's just basically a different controller type. It's like how it's wired differently. Don't think of it as technological, think of it as just how it's wired. The fire button is just wired to all the other ports, and obviously the analog movement is wired to the control pad input. So obviously this is one control input, and then there's four separate buttons here that join up to 4 separate pins. When the Atari reads it, it just reads it as all being the same button. So all 4 of these work as the fire button. So that's basically the compatibility explained right there in layman's terms. So yeah, that is all of it. So other than the Sega Mega Drive controller and the splitter box, all this plus Frogger in the box. Go for it. If I can get it out without having issues. Instruction booklet and cartridge. There we go. Focus. And one of the games of the few that caused the video game crash, Pac-Man. All of that, but the Sega Mega Drive stuff, 30 quid at Magpies. That is insane. They were the only 2 games he had out. He had the Atari with all the paddles and all that for marked up 30 quid. I think he chucked Pac-Man in as a bonus because it didn't have the box and it would just be sitting there on its own until he got the rest of the stock out. So he just chucked that in as a bonus. And I'm like, sweet man, that's amazing. I've got 2 games to play on it. I've got a unique version of Pac-Man because, you know, you don't really see this bad version of Pac-Man on any other system, even if it is like a museum kind of thing. I just chuck on the original arcade board. And one of the better games of the system, Frogger, which funnily enough, I haven't actually played it in ages. Flash, Android, program, whatever, computer game, whatever. I don't really play Frogger, so I've actually got something worth playing on here. So if I ever want to grab it out, I can just slide it out. And it's nice to have on the entertainment centre that I have going on. So yeah, yeah, because I've been doing a spring clean in my room as well. I mean, I know I've got a lot of mess here. So yeah, that's another thing as well. But yeah, that's it. Now, like I said, I can't actually show footage of any of this unless I point my camera to the screen, to the TV screen. But at least then at that point, I can actually show you as I go without hooking up another camera to show you the controller I'm using and see how the input works. And well, it's been playing on an HD TV anyway, and I'm going to be recording through my Samsung Galaxy J1, so it is going to be very good quality regardless. And it's not like I'm going to be doing a Let's Play on any of these games, let's be fair. It's Atari, it's like, what can I say about it? It's like a game that lasts about 2 minutes. It's like an arcade game. That's really all it is. It will last 2 minutes, so that's 4 minutes of footage. And yeah, let me just put all this back into my entertainment centre and shove it off. I'll see you guys in just a moment. My TV is all set up for this. Oh, well, it just disappeared. But yep, I'm using what my TV is a Murphy 1080p widescreen. I think it's 32-inch, so that's a thing. So you know what I'm using. So if you're using a different TV and you have different menus then from the TV, let me know. But yeah, let me just turn this on, and we should get picture immediately. Oh, it's alive! Yes. Alright, so let me go to the menu here quickly. I've got the picture on a panoramic zoom, because if I scroll through them all, let me start from auto here. Auto is always 69. It's not really auto, I don't know why. As you can see here, go to 69, no change. 4:3 is what it should be. Panoramic stretches it slightly, but then zooms it in. So it takes as much of the screen as possible, but keeps it in the 4:3 aspect ratio. I think I need to move my camera a bit. There we go. So it takes up most of the screen. And I've zoomed in my camera, so it actually does take up all the screen. But that's a thing. Like I said, I'm having to keep my my phone balanced in order to show this, because there's no other way I'm catching footage through aerial leads, as far as I'm aware. Unless I do the complicated setup that I told you about already. And because I derped about too long, took me out of the bloody menu. But yeah, I keep it on panoramic just so I have a lot of stuff going on. Then on the install page of my Murphy TV, program 3, basically if you type in like number 2 and then leave it, or you type in 58 on the numbered buttons on your remote, which are obviously these buttons of course, you go to a channel. But that's actually a program in the new TVs. The channel that we're talking about from the older TVs is this selection. And yeah, channel 36 is actually the recommended channel, which is said on the Sega Mega Drive or Sega Genesis Switch-Box. So that's cool. Like I've mentioned, on older TVs you have 99 channels, but on new TVs you have 99 programs that have 99 channels in them. And that's how it works, because if I mess about with the search settings down here, it will take me to different channels, which is like the megahertz settings, I guess. And different megahertz settings also change the sound system, which is here. You need, for, well, a Murphy TV apparently on aerial to get a Atari 2600 Junior to work. I put it on band C, 36 channel, color system auto, so to reduce screen burn, because you know it's an HD TV. Sound system I, so that the sound actually plays, as we'll get into in a second. Fine time, which we don't need. That's what I store, so that's kept in memory. Now, if I go to picture, sorry about that, I forgot what I was going to do. I have set noise reduction to high, because as it's going into, as it's going through aerial, of course it's not going to be the clearest visual footage. So setting the noise reduction to high gives me the clearest possible image. And it doesn't have that wavy lines on like static on yellow colours. As you can see, 1981 has a bit of a well, actually in the camera it looks pretty clear. It also looks brighter than when it is on the thing. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to edit that in editing, or maybe I'll just leave it as that, because that's how good the camera is on my J1. But yeah, power 50Hz, that's pretty much it. So let's actually get to gameplay, shall we? After talking about how I set this up. It's just flicking through every colour. By the way, if I flick the colour switch, it goes black and white. Even though Atari is doing colour, the game isn't. strange. But yeah, basically what it's doing is taking all colours and just applying a black and white monochrome thing to it. So, I'm using this controller at the moment, so I'm just going to sit a little bit forward, try to keep this in the shot, and play. So, if I press reset down here, actually no, if I press select, like I said, 2 bars, the green bar is player 1, the left controller, orange is right, and that pretty much means that we're both starting on level 1. Player 1 starting on level 2, player 2 starting on level 2. Just keep pressing it and it cycles to level 8. Of course, you can set the difficulty so that the ghost may move faster or move more erratically. That's a thing. And when you want to start, either hit the fire button, or if I just interrupt the game and press, well, go to that, and then press reset, it starts the game up. Now, those green squares in the corner are your lives. Of course, that number going up, bar the starting 0 that you're supposed to have in like most arcade games, is how many pellets you get. Normally, pack dots are worth 10 points, so they give you 1 point here. Power pellets are worth 50 points, so they give me 5 points here. Power pellets are obviously those big squares. Ghosts flicker, because technical limitations, I guess, which is what most people actually hate about this. At least all 4 ghosts show up for me instead of 2, so I've got one of the better cartridges, apparently. And, yeah, Pac-Man only has about 3 frames of animation looping, and he only faces in 2 directions, that's another thing. And, yeah, all the dots are lines. It's kind of weird as well, because this is a very unique layout for Pac-Man. It's like the middle part is kept the same, but the bottom half and the top half of the rest of the map have been placed on the sides. So yeah, let me actually hold it here on the camera so you can just see how I'm playing this. Oh great, that was a great start. Okay, I can start by doing this now. But doing that, oh no, I still had another life, excuse me. I just timed my button press. Because I didn't see my score reset. Because there, now I'm dead. Let me start that again. So let me move with this for a minute. So as you can see, it's a little bit stiff to work with. And I don't exactly prefer it. I actually prefer a Sega Mega Drive controller. Hate me if you will, but that's kind of a thing. That in the middle there, what I like to call is a fruit basket, because it looks like that. Gives you about 100 points, I believe. Then again, that could be a cherry for what I know, because it's the first level, so yeah. Anyway, let me go and hit the reset here, which just resets the game entirely, so let me just do this quickly. And I'm going to switch to the Sega Mega Drive controller for this game, so I'll see you in a second. Alright, so now I've set up this big bulky thing. As you can see, any fire button works. Except for the start button, apparently. That's why it's something else that the... okay, I couldn't go up for a second there. What the heck? I can go down. I cannot go up for whatever reason. Okay, maybe my controller isn't plugged in properly. Alright, let's try that again. Can I go up this time? Yep, I can go up this time. So yeah, as you can see, I'm trying to hold it up in the camera, but I can't exactly see at my angle. I can play this game a lot better with this. Just play it one-handed. I don't even know how I got that guy. I don't know about hit detection, it's a little bit questionable. If I do that, I didn't eat that pellet, so... that pack dot even. So that's a thing. But yeah, this is... I don't actually think this is a bad version of Pac-Man, to be fair. I'm just going to play it normally now while I'm just giving my thoughts on this game. Yeah, I don't think this is a bad version of Pac-Man. I can see why at the time it was bad. It didn't give the same strategy that that you use on the ghosts. It wasn't faithful to the original, but I would say this is more unique. I mean, you don't see people bashing on Pac-Man Championship Edition, even if it does use assets from the original game in just nice bright neon lights. But you still have the fruit that appear after you eat a certain amount of pack dots. You still have the 4 power pellets in the corners. You have all 4 ghosts that you can see at all times, despite the flickering. You still have the warps that work as intended. You stay in the warps for a little bit. The ghosts can't follow you. I think it's just a unique take on it, and considering the technical limitations, I think this is a good port. I could play this for quite a while and I'll get bored. In fact, I might actually play this more often than normal Pac-Man, just because it's a nice change of pace. It's a different maze, even though it's the same maze every time. It's just a one screen of gameplay. But yeah, I've got no problems with this game. This is a game that I'll probably play with my mates, just to break it out. Say, hey, I have an Atari. Do you want to play some Pac-Man that's considered the worst version ever? I kind of like it. That's my personal opinion. If you don't like it, that's your prerogative. But yeah, on to my only other Atari 2600 game now, Frogger. So guys, and just actually, you know what? It's gonna be quick enough. I'll just turn it off, rip out the cartridge. By the way, I just took out the cartridges like that. There's the top label. Let me flip it. It's upside down. Now it's correct. Yeah, the contacts are on the top of the cartridge. So not only do you have to flip it that way, you also have to flip it that way. It's backwards. It's upside down and the wrong way round. It's crazy. And even though that Frogger has a much more designed cartridge, like with nice ridges on the side and whatnot, it still suffers from the same thing. You have to, well, not really. Frogger's the picture goes upside down, and you have to flip it the other way around. So yeah, that's a thing. But let me just slot that nicely in there. And here's Frogger. Now I don't know what those black lines are at the side, but those. Okay, just play music against my will. Does that change anything at the moment? No, it doesn't. Okay. I was just messing with the difficulty switches, but that doesn't actually change the cars until you start playing. But those square... Let me just press select here. That's 2-player. That's 1 player on level 2. That's 2 player on level 2. 1 player on level 3. 2 player on level 3. And then back to level 1, player 1 again. Where those frogs were appearing to represent that at the very top of the screen, because obviously there's no menus, because it's a very old game. You have like no memory to work with, about 2 megabytes perhaps, or 2 bytes, I don't know. But with basically those blue squares up top, those are your safe places, but all the rest of the blue is actual water. You'll drown for a frog. That still makes no sense to me in Frogger. Frogs can swim, you know. The blue platforms are sinking rocks, as you see there. They disappear once you land on them for too long. Red ones you can stand on, and obviously logs, they go off. If you hit the side of the wall, you're pretty much screwed. Like I said, don't know what the black lines on the other side of the screen, on the left side of the screen are. Those white dots are your lives. There is actually no indicator for telling you when it's player 2. It's just that if one player dies, it goes on to the next player. If one player actually makes it to the top and gets into one of those red spots up top of the screen, they can continue when they respawn at the bottom of the screen because you've saved a frog, not lost a life. So I'm going to start with the Sega Mega Drive controller this time, so let me just start here. Now, as you can see here, this is one of those games where you have to actually press the reset button on the console. So, I'm going to play with just this, and you can see me mess about with the control pad, so wait until the music finishes. This bar over here, this black bar that's decreasing, that's your time limit. If you don't make it to the end, you lose a life. And you respawn. You can actually get extra points by collecting that frog, so let me try and do that. There we go. I don't know what that does, to be fair. I shouldn't really be standing there. I'm screwed! I'm screwed! Ah, I'm good. Ah, I always make that mistake, trying to get on the green at the top of the screen, but that's considered death and not the blue. Even though you would think the blue is death. And I don't think you can go into the blue parts of the top when there's something in the way, so that's a thing. But yeah, you can't actually see me, can you? But you can when I'm on the black background, but, you know. Doesn't help when there's flicker as well, but whatever. Come on. This is bad! I'm dead. You just get splattered. So let's play a full game of this. Alright, so I'm going to switch to the Atari joystick in a minute, so once I save another frog. Ah, what? That should have counted. Okay, let me switch controllers quickly. Okay, here we go. So, here's the control joystick, whatever. You just want to tap in the direction you want to go, but as it's like 360 movement, like as I'll just play here. Oh my god, I flew! If I did that enough times, I did a friggin' hurricane spin. Oh, whoops. Yep, that's that. But yeah, so that was this. I don't prefer using this because as you've got 360 movement, you can pretty much, like, immediately get run over. Oh my god, look at that, crocodiles and snakes. I never got that far in the game. Maybe they only appear in difficulty 2, because it's actually looking like it's difficulty 2. Not only are there more cars, but on difficulty B, for that player, if you switch it on the console, you actually, the cars don't only increase in number, but they also increase in speed. So what we're seeing is difficulty be right now. It's just giving you a demo. So yeah, that's that's all my Atari. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.